Hello class 9 students. Today we are going to continue the discussion on the Moamoriya rebellion. In the last class we discussed about the causes of the Moamoriya rebellion, and the first cause was the religious policies of the Ahom monarchy. The next discussion we are going to discuss about the socio-economic causes. The religious sentiments was not the only reason that led to the Moamoriya rebellion. Like Queen Fuleshwari, the queen of Sivasingha, who had adopted the Sakta religions and had invited the Moamoriya Mahanta and were humiliated by forcefully allowing him to wear tilak on his forehead of the blood of sacrificed animals. And as a consequence of such torture, we can see in the form of Moamoriya rebellion. Later, during the Ahom rule, apart from attacking on the religious sentiments, it was not only this reason which led to Moamoriya rebellion, but many socio-economic causes has emerged out, which had many effect on the Moamoriya people and also the common subject. We know that the disciples of Moamoriya Satras were mainly the tribal people. Moamoriya people, they were tribal people. That means the local inhabitants of Assam, as well as the lower section of the society. We know that the Moamoriya people also belong to the lower section of the society, and these people were bound to provide menial labor under the pike system. Menial means in hand. The people has to go in person and they had to render labor under pike system. The pike system I will discuss a little later, but let's see the first part of socio-economic causes. The disciples, these disciples of the Satras were expert artisans. They are experts artisans. Their professions included pottery. They can do pottery, blacksmith, leather work, and many other various artisans. These people were also expert in all the important works like making weapons. They can make weapons. To whom? For the Ahom army. Not only weapons, also they know to make boats out of trees, which is required for battle. They know to catch animals and also catching animals from the forest and training the animals for battle. The Ahom state machinery fully exploited the expertise of these people. The Ahom mercenaries who are the Ahom mercenaries? The people who belong to Ahom administration. They were exploited. Very hard. How the exploitation were done? That means, as I have already mentioned, they were experts in various fields of work. These works are benefited by the Ahom mercenaries, and in return these Moamoriya disciple, these people, the lower sectional people, they doesn't get enough in return for their service and work. So in this regard, these people were exploited and abused both socially and economically. These people were exploited so much and socially and economically, the Ahom people would take the service of these people, of the lower section of the people. They didn't pay any respect to these people. So this was one of the social and economical exploitation of the Ahom. Again, I have mentioned that about pike system. So what is pike system? First of all, we must understand about the pike. So what is pike? You see, between 15 and 50 years, any male is regarded as pike. And in the pike system, those people who cannot pay revenue between 15 and 50 years of age, they had to render free service. Free service to whom? To the Ahom kingdom. To the Ahom kingdom. So this is called pike system. And again, another term that I want to mention is got. G-O-T, got. I am not telling as got, get, got. It is a got system. It is an Assamese term that means group. Here 4 pikes are taken. In got, 4 pikes are taken. And each pikes had to render free service in the Ahom kingdom for about 3 months. 3 months, 3 months, he also 3 months, and the fourth one also 3 months, which will bring together as 12 months, equal to 1 year. This is done in rotation. This is done in rotation. The first one will go for January, February, March. Then again he will return back. The second one will go April, May, June. Then again July, August, September, and October, November, December. Again in return when January comes for the next 3 months, this first one will come. So in this way the people are going in rotation. So later on, during the reign of Rajeshwar Singha, the membership of each got was reduced to 3, 1, 2, 3. But the time period remained the same, that is 1 year. So what will happen here? So each member, each pike, the member had to render free service for 4 months each, which will amount to 1 year. 4 months each, 4, 3 4s together comes as 12 months, which is equal to 1 year. You see, this 1 month of additional labor increased for every pike, and the majority of the Moamoriyas were hard-working people. These pikes were hard-working people, and they were common people, and also they were not willing to accept this additional 1 month of menial labor. This leads to certain social difficulty over the Assam monarchy, and it has become clear that which result to the devastation of the starting of the Moamoriya rebellion. Again, this pike system, as I have already mentioned, who were eligible to entitled to render free service in the pike system, these people were those who had lands, but but they cannot pay tax to the Ahom people, Ahom monarchy, and in lieu of paying tax of the Ahom monarchy, they had to render tax. So these pikes, some of the pikes, most of the pikes, what will happen? Those who can pay revenue, who can pay revenue in future, in thereafter, who can pay, and who cannot pay revenue. So two classes has emerged now, who can pay revenue and who cannot pay revenue, and in this way two classes of pikes form. You see here, the pike who can pay the revenue, they need not to render, free service under Anahanga, because they can pay tax now. So these pikes are regarded as Somua pike, and who cannot pay tax, they need to render free service, so they are regarded as Kanri pike. So in this way two classes of pikes have emerged out later, Somua pike and Kanri pike. Now between these two pikes, who enjoyed a higher class among between these two pikes? The Chamwa pike, because they needed to render. The Chamwa pikes were exempted in lieu of payment of land tax, and this Chamwa pike held a status higher than the Kanri pike. Then due to various reasons, numbers of Chamwa pike began to increase and the Kanri pike decreased. It is because of this, when Kanri pike decreased and Chamwa pike increased, to compensate this three members system of god has been introduced later during the reign of, as I have already mentioned, of Rajeshwar Singha, King Rajeshwar Singha. So the pikes were reduced. So these people, hardworking people, was not agreeing for this 1 month of manual labor, 1 month of additional manual labor. As a result, the pressure of the existing Kanri pike doubled. This led to social inequality, which gave birth to conflict. Again, in the last cause of the pike system, I want to mention that the Moamoriya disciples, as I have already mentioned, they were expert artisans, and they thought of a false idea that the Aham machinery they were dependent on this disciple. Why? Because the disciples are expert artisans, and Ahom masonry were exploiting this disciple, and in regards to it, the Ahom mercenaries are dependent on the weaponry system that are constructed by the disciple, Mohammedan disciples, and whenever the disciples would stop working for Ahom masonry, the Ahom masonry, as they were dependent, and in such a situation, the missionaries, the Ahom kingdom, will very soon come to an understanding with them. But now they decided to end the long period of their exploitation by the Ahoms through a rebellion. So they were starting. So after this so long period of exploitations in different field, the Ahom against the Ahom, the common people were thinking of the rebel, but abruptly they didn't start a rebellion. All that was required was an opportunity to ignite a situation. They needed an opportunities. So about these opportunities I will mention about a famous person named Kirti Chandra. In the next discussion, in the next video, I will discuss about Kirti Chandra as when and how the rebellion begins. But still, to measure the strength of the Moamariyas, of the disciples, how many disciples were there, to count it, a person named Ghazini, obviously not Amir Khan. Remember that Ghazini was the son of Moamoriya Mahanta Ashtabhuj. He was Moamoriya Mahanta Ashtabhuj and his son Ghazini. Remember, not Amir Khan, because Amir Khan was born about 50 years earlier, and these things happening about 300 years back. This Ghazini, this person, called upon all the Moamariyas, invited all the Moamariyas to construct a Borbheti. Borbheti, that means a foundation, a plinth, where near Jorhat, in a field called Malou Pathar. Malou Pathar. Here, how the Borbheti was constructed? Every disciples had to take a handful of soil, a handful of mud in their hand, and one by one they used to place the mud in one place, that is on the Malou Pathar near Jorhat. And in this way they constructed a Borbheti, and the Bheti became higher, which shows the strength of the Moamariyas. It can be identified that the Bheti has become so big with a single handful of each and every disciples. So there were a huge strength of the disciple in Assam. So this not only showed their strength but also signaled the future rebellion of the Moamariyas. So in this regard, the rebellion was gone a few steps ahead of the Moamoriya, ahead of the rebellion. So in the next discussion I will discuss the beginning of the rebellion, how it started. For the time being, thank you.